very warm welcome. You're watching an India Today special, the Big JNU Campus Face-Off. This is the nationalism debate. Today I'm joined by 4 speakers from the right-leaning Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad and 2 speakers each from the SFI and the AISA, the left-leaning student bodies. We will be debating various aspects of nationalism. This debate is divided into 3 parts. I'll take you through the questions. You'll all get 2 minutes each to make your opening comments, after which there'll be an interjection of 1 minute each. The first question that we're debating today: should there be a limit to free speech on campuses? The students from the ABVP will speak first. You'll have 2 minutes to make your opening comments. Your time starts now. Begin with a quick introduction.
My name is Abhijit Dwivedi. I am a student of Jawaharlal Nehru University. See, we believe that academic freedom is very much essential to be there in the campus, and freedom of speech and expression is necessary. However, as a democratic citizen of the country, it is our responsibility that we go by article, by the constitutional provisions. So, 19.1a provides the right, 19.2 provides the reasonable restrictions. There are restrictions in names of sovereignty and integrity of India. Then there is restriction on the public order, and then there is restriction on the contempt of the code. So that way, the premise is pretty set in this regard as to that there is a reasonable restriction as far as the freedom of speech and expression is concerned. Now coming to the question of relationship between freedom of speech and expression and academic freedom in campuses. So on that I would like to go to Mr. MC Chagla. MC Chagla, whose brainchild this particular university is. MC Chagla, when he was the Education Minister of India, while commenting on the education recruitment policy of UP government, said that the academic freedom must always exist in campus. Radical elements also must exist in campus. Communists can also exist in campus. However, in the very next line he says that the ordinary law of the land is enough to take care of the actual subversive elements. The event at that particular day was subversive activities, and ordinary law of the land, that is CRPC and IPC, was relevant to deal with that particular thing. As far as the question of academic freedom and its relation to the larger academic freedom existing across the globe. So there I would like to refer to the Magna Carta Universatum, which was signed in 1988, which was celebrating 900 years of the University of Bologna established. University of Bologna was the first university where academic freedom word was being used. Therein also it says it qualifies the nature of free speech which can take place in a campus. It says that it must be humanist in nature. As far as the question of restrictions existing in other countries and other jurisdictions are concerned, European Convention on Human Rights clearly says under Article 10 Clause 2 that restrictions, formalities and limitations and penalties are necessary on this particular right for a democratic society to exist. A campus cannot be allowed to become a den of extremism. It cannot be allowed to that wrong kind of activities can take place. So
time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you for your opening comments. Campuses cannot be independent republics. They must follow the law of the land, and therefore the definition of free speech in a campus must be the same as that in the rest of the country. The student from the left unions will now respond. You've got 2 minutes. Begin with an introduction. Your time starts now.
Hello, my name is Vishwanathan. I am from the SFI and I am from the Jawaharlal Nehru University. Let me first begin by what a campus is supposed to do. It is supposed to impart education. And education, in the words of Albert Einstein, one of the predominant scientists to have changed the world of physics, he told the purpose of education is to train one's mind to think. If we are already going to clamp down on speech and on thinking, we don't know what kind of education we are getting, and we should be very, very clear about it. And as far as free speech itself is concerned, I reiterate the point that the speech should not result in any sort of resort to violent activities. Until that point, I think free speech should not only be there, it should also be encouraged. Furthermore, our Prime Minister talks about the youth to wake up in this country and go for startups. I would like to say startups generally have come from bold ideas. Be it Steve Jobs, who was part of the counterculture movement, which was seen with contempt in the USA at that time. Very similarly, they are looking at people from JNU with utter contempt. And I'm telling you, with these kind of freedoms being spoiled, it is not possible for the nation to develop in the way that can benefit the people of this country. And with this, I will just hand it over to some of my friends here.
See, my name is Ashutosh. There was a time in this world where the idea that the earth revolves around the universe, people were expressing, and any idea which was detaching itself from that idea were hanged. So, but now, see, the whole thing about idea, freedom, speech, this is not given. It is not given. It has evolved in our society. And the way it has evolved, we need to understand that it is still evolving. So, what type of, Jawaharlal Nehru said that universities should stand for humanism, tolerance, critical analysis. What type of university you want? What type of student you want out of the university? You want products. You don't want a thinking mind, and that is why you are clamping down on these budgets, education budget. You want people to think on a linear basis. You don't want any other idea that don't match with your idea of India. I say, why not? If any instigation of violence is there, we are against it. But if somebody is saying
Your
that
time is up. This is where you shall end your opening comments. Both the speakers and both the sides have laid out the opening interventions for their teams. You now have 1 minute to make interjections based, I'm assuming, on what you say. So here is an opportunity for the ABVP to interject. They've got 1 minute. Introduce yourself and make your interjection.
My name is Saket Bahuguna. I am a Central Working Committee member of ABVP. And my simple question to all these people standing on the left of this stage is that, do you think shouting slogans like Bharat ki barbadi tak jang rahegi and shouting slogans like Bharat ke 10 tukde honge inshallah inshallah, is this your freedom of expression? That's my simple question to you.
And as far as Nehru thing was concerned, I would like to say that JNU was established. It was said that national integration was one of the primary goals of establishing this university. And for one more thing, the first constitutional amendment was being proposed by Nehru himself, and when he said that the idea of freedom of speech and expression has been interpreted in a particular manner that it is impossible to run the state. As far as the development and the revolutionary thing is concerned, we particularly believe that this was not a humanist event. This was not something which was progressive. This was entirely violent. And violence is not always physical. It can be mental also.
Okay, you're calling this mental violence. This is where your time ends. Now, we'll give the opportunity to the left students' unions to make an interjection. You've got 1 minute. Your time starts now.
Hi, I'm Pritish. I'm from ISA. So essentially, these guys came up with 2 points. First, they mentioned that, we need to curtail academic freedom to run a state. So we have to understand that, freedom of expression to run a state and freedom of expression in universities is a bit different. In universities, you produce ideas which happen through interjection of, theses and antitheses, and that is very important. And that is the purpose of the university. You're clearly defeating the purpose of university when you clamp down ideas in the university itself. The second point which they raised is, the freedom of expressions cannot be equated to these slogans. You have to understand that no one here is defending anti-India slogans. What we are defending is what we are objecting is the clampdown that the state machinery has done after these slogans were raised. Was that pretty democratic? I would like to ask, was your BJP MLA democratic in nature? Was, the abuses they are hurling to our mothers and sisters, is that democratic in nature? I want to ask them.
Okay, your time is up. Now there'll be a question and answer round where I will give an opportunity to the ABVP students to ask one question based on what you've heard the left students say. You will ask the question, they will respond, they'll have 1 minute. Either one person can answer the question or you can combine forces and answer the question. You have to ask a question to which they will respond. Your time starts now.
10th Feb resolution, you say you just have said that we don't approve any such thing. So 10th February resolution, the next day when the 5/9 incidents took place, there was a pamphlet by JNSU which says, in defense of our freedom of expression, in favor defense of our freedom of expression. So they are, and that entire parcha, that pamphlet has nowhere criticized that particular event. And as far as the idea is concerned, violence cannot be an idea, and violence as an idea cannot be allowed to exist in the campus.
Okay, you're asking them, why did you not condemn in the resolution that was passed the next day, in the pamphlet that was produced the next day, what happened at JNU on the 9th of February? One of the four of you must respond. Your time starts now.
It is an outright lie. My name is Subin. I am from JNU. It is an outright lie that our friends from ABP has said. The very next day, the JNU Students' Union, in their pamphlet, had condemned those slogans in no uncertain terms. Not only that, there were other, if we are talking about slogans, let's talk about other slogans that the ABVP has raised in this campus, in JNU campus. For instance, in the recent days, we have had several marches demanding justice for Rohit Vemula, his institutional murderer in the Hyderabad Central University. When one such march was going on, in my hostel, one ABVP activist ran down from his hostel and shouted Brahmanwad Zindabad. Okay. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, the framer of our constitution, he had wanted to annihilate caste, he had wanted to annihilate Brahminism, and our friends from ABVP want to keep it alive. Now, I would say this is as much anti-national as anything else. But we are not saying that they should be put into jail. We will democratically debate them, discuss them, and defeat them politically and ideologically. That is what we want. We don't want anybody who disagrees with us to be put into jail.
Now I'm going to give an opportunity to students from the left to ask one question to the right. Any of you can pick up the mic and ask the question. Please go ahead.
See, you've talked and waxed eloquent about the Indian constitution and how much you would like to follow it. I would like to ask some very, very basic things. In the run-up towards February 9th onwards, there were controversial statements that were given by the VHP chief, Praveen Togaria also. He told that only Hindus should be given the right to vote, only Hindus should be allowed to participate in elections, only Hindus should be part of the bureaucracy. And you people, when you are saying you are defending the constitution and the unity of the people, Bharat ke ekta, you keep telling that this is a question on the unity of the people. What do you want to respond with it? Do you condemn it outrightly? And if you condemn it in the same gusto that you did the protest and the slogans that happened in JNU, why did you not take out a protest?
See, first of all, I would like to say that as far as Togadia ji is concerned, that's a different thing. Gujarat, Narendra Modi, I will answer that. Please, let me speak. Don't do your hooliganism which you do in the elections. Huh? Don't do that particular hooliganism, at least for me. At least, please, for me. Let me speak, my friend.
You're wasting your time. You don't need to listen to them. Go ahead.
Okay. My point is that the Gujarat government, when Gujarat government has recently bought a bill wherein it said that compulsory voting will be compulsory. I personally, I may agree, I may not agree. That's a different thing. So that particular notion is not the notion of either RSS or the notion of BJP or even ABVP for that purpose. Even last year, one of the candidate in the central panel was a Muslim candidate. If they want to identify that way, that whether a Muslim is there a candidate or not. Please, ma'am, why are you not letting me speak? As far as the second thing is concerned, that as a ABVP JNU unit, we have never raised such kind of things that it will happen or it will not happen. As far as Ambedkar is concerned, I hope they might have read Ambedkar completely.
Okay, your time is up. I now want to move to the second question that we're going to ask our debaters to respond to. This question is speaking out against India anti-national? Is criticizing India anti-national? Any one of you can pick up the mic and speak. Please begin by introducing yourself. You've got 2 minutes to make your response. Is criticizing India anti-national? Your time starts now.
Okay, my name is Gaurav and I'm from JNU. The question that these people have been raising is completely lied. If we look at the history of JNU has been producing too many anti-nationals from the long time. Right now, right in the year 1990, a student from Jawaharlal Nehru University, Shehrabuddin Gori, was arrested from JNU on charges of funding militancy in Kashmir through Hawala operation. In the year 2000, a Kargil war veteran was beaten up in JNU. A Kargil war officer, he was beaten up in JNU. And it's a matter of record, Bahara committee was formed and it was found that it was a mistake of the communists who have beat him without any provocation. In the year 2010, when Dantewada attack happened, 76 Jawans were martyred. These people had celebrated it.
In the Kaveri lawns.
In 1995, the registrar writes a letter that there is a presence of Pakistani agents on campus. In the year 2011, there is a report that there are Chinese and Pakistani agents operating on campus. So all such things have been happening on campus for a long time, and it's high time that such anti-national activities has to be stopped immediately.
See, another thing I would like to say that it's part of matter of record. When in 2004 GNSU, the resolution was being brought by NSUI. At that time, NSUI and ABVP came together. We supported, we brought NSUI brought the resolution that Arunachal Pradesh is an integral part of India. That motion was defeated in JNSU. That itself is enough proof of this thing. And if they respect, even if they may say that India is an exploitative state, but if soldiers are dying, they give us one resolution. They give us one pamphlet wherein they have said, even you go to library, there are pachas which say that military is militant, military is what not. These are the pamphlets which are on library. You can go today and you can see.
Just this year, ABVP proposed a resolution in JNUSU Council. Kashmir is an integral part of India and it was defeated by the communists. What do they mean to say that Kashmir is not an integral part of India? What do you mean?
Now you've got 2 minutes, the students from the left unions, to respond to whether criticizing India and raising your voice against India is anti-national. 1 second, your time hasn't started, so just wait for a moment till the buzzer gets going. Your time starts now.
I'm not at all surprised the way these guys are expressing their views. You know what, I would request all the young India, the 70% of this country, to just listen to their arguments. This proof, one, it happened there, something happened there. What is at the core? What is the idea of India for them? Something might have happened. I can give hundreds examples, and today we have decided by the evening, all their old pamphlets will be released to the press. They have said Pakistan, Ramzade, Haramzade. On match, a simple cricket match becomes as if India and Pakistan are fighting. So these examples I don't want to procure here. I mean, there can be dichotomy, but what I am saying is, how do you see India? How do you see campuses? How do you see politics? How do you see human being? How do you see women? I won't say that you might have 20 people, spokesperson who are women, but what is the idea of women in your perception? Idea of women, you womenify India, and that is where we are suspicious. The moment any right-winger womenify India, we are at suspicion, because for them, what is women? Women should be subjugated, women should be under pressure, women should not go outside, and what women should wear, what she should not wear. The moment you say that India, Bharat Mata, we know, but when people like you raise such slogans, we have our doubts, because India knows and this world knows how you have created an image of women in this world.
As far as the debate is about whether criticizing India is anti-national or not, these people laid out a chart sheet. Okay, it was a chart sheet. It was not any arguments in substantiating anything. In our view, criticizing India is required because Indian state is not all that perfect. We cannot be blind to the fact what is happening in Kashmir. We cannot be blind what is happening in Northeast. So given those things, firstly we need to consider how do we engage with these people. If we do not criticize, these kind of things will not happen.
You now have 1 minute to make an interjection responding to their criticism of your idea of India and whether it is all right to criticize India. The moment the buzzer goes off, you can start. Your time starts now.
In the name of freedom of expression, they always talk about annihilation of caste, always talk about position of women in Indian society. First of all, I want to clear that India needs not learn idea of India from leftist people. Second thing, I want to ask them, if they are so glorified about position of women in leftist brigade, then how many women are in their Politburo? I want to ask them. And
as far as one more thing is concerned, because they have been raising voice about feminism, because they have been raising voice about feminism, when the Mahishasur thing took place, you can say that Mahishasur is being celebrated by someone, but saying Ma Durga something specifically, it is anti-feminist. It is hardcore anti-feminism, and how could you say that this is a freedom of speech and expression? You cannot say this. As far as the idea critique of India is concerned, that is very much required. But criticism is always two types: criticism, critical and constructive, and critical and destructive. If the idea is critical and destructive, it wants to divide India. If it wants the balkanization of India, that cannot be allowed.
Criticizing India is all right. Talking about breaking up India is not acceptable. That's their argument. You've got 1 minute now to respond.
We know where RSS and ABVP learns their nationalism from. They learn from Nathuram Vinayak Godse, who is the murderer of Mahatma Gandhi. They will learn from Praveen Togadia and Ashok Singhal. And we will learn our nationalism from the likes of Comrade Niranjan Talukdar, an SFI activist in Assam, who was cut up into 100 pieces by the separatists in Assam. His body was put into a gunny bag and thrown into a well. Okay, and his body was not found until 1 month later. Then the students of JNU had raised the slogan that let them cut our bodies into 100 pieces, but we will not let India be cut into 100 pieces. That is the slogan that we raised in JNU at that time. That is the India that we stand for. We don't stand for the conception of India that the RSS and the ABVP stands for, that of an intolerant Hindu Rashtra.
It is really funny that he was talking about feminism and women's ideas. RSS, even today, does not have a single woman member. RSS has a women's wing. RSS does not have a single woman member. Let me remind you that people who live in glass houses do not throw stones at others, my dear friends.
Okay, now everyone has an opportunity. Once again.
Problem is they are less right. They are reading one particular trick.
One second. I cannot allow this debate. I cannot allow this debate to degenerate. Allow me to moderate, please.
No women at all, yaar,
Allow me to moderate, please. I will give the students in the audience an opportunity to ask questions as well. And you need to follow the buzzer and finish when the buzzer goes off. I'm going to give the first student here to ask a question. Can I have the mic, please? Who has the mic? You have a question. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Rahul. My question is to my respected ABVP members. Sir, you talked about, and I quote, that if any speech is against the national sovereignty, it should be condemned and should be shut down. My question to you is this: how would you define national sovereignty if it is not debated? For example, if tomorrow the majority and the Sangh Parivar decides that, well, it is against national sovereignty for the country that women go to school. Now, we need debate and discussion to actually curb these ideas. This will be only possible if the freedom of speech is absolute. Please answer to this question.
Okay. My point is that if you read that particular restriction in 19(1)(a),
Yeah, of course you have to answer.
okay, if you read Article 19(2), it says that in the interest of national sovereignty, see, a state has also even the right to secede. That is, a state has a right to secede. That is a function thing existing in the Indian Constitution. But the point is that you can have a debate about how the Kashmir problem can be solved. Having an academic course, having an academic program, which suggests that the Kashmir as an independent nation is the answer. There can be a program, but propaganda wherein you say that Kashmir or whatever balkanization take place. If you start giving that kind of propaganda, if that kind of extremism is going to be the case, it is wrong. David Cameron has recently said that the fight of this generation, the fight of this century, is a fight against extremism. This is pure extremism. This is pure militant.
In JNU, there is no culture of debate by the leftists. What happens? They give only argument, one-side argument. First, for them, they say, Durga ka character ye hai. This is the character of Durga. For them,
Okay,
their debate is on the army is evil. Their argument
time is up. You need to
Kashmir is
stop.
not part of India. So there is no question of
Your
debate.
time is up. You need to stop. Now I'll take one question, but this question must be to the students from the left. So I hope your question is to the students from the left. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Right. It is regarding the idea of freedom of speech in the academic profile, right? We thought communism as a concept came up and then eventually it evolved. And that's the idea of evolution you talked about. Evolved into the idea of Mao taking over and killing millions of people in China, right? Secondly, like, how do you justify violence? And on the one hand, you condemn violence and thereby go ahead and take the name of CPI Maoist instead of going ahead and taking the name of CPI Bhagat Singh or going ahead and taking the name of any other Indian leaders that we had social.
Okay, you've got 1 minute. Any of you can pick up the mic and respond. Your time starts now.
First of all, friend, let me tell you what you said. When you are talking about India, first of all, clear your mind that Western nationalism and Indian nationalism are two different things. You should clear your mind that the history of Western, the history of any other country is not as same as India. So, when you bring them in conjuncture, you want to copy something. At the moment you copy something from others' history, your history is washed. And when your history is washed, I am coming to it, see. And when your history is washed, your soul is gone. You are just a body. Now, in the context of Indian politics, how it has evolved, why do you always talk about politics? It's a social problem. Why don't you talk about social problem? This has been done, that has been done. What about the Adivasis' right? What about the Soni Sori? What about Manorma? What about ASFA? Can't we even talk about ASFA? In the name of security. In the name of security.
Okay, your time is up. This is where the buzzer goes off. In part 2, I asked the question, is it wrong to standardize the definition of patriotism? This time, I'll start by requesting the students from the left to make their voice heard first. You'll have 2 minutes to make your comments. Your time starts now.
As far as we are concerned, there are different kinds of nationalism. We espouse the cause of anti-imperialist nationalism, which was forged in the freedom struggle which our people fought in against British rule. Now, what is not patriotism? That is something that we are very clear about. And who are the anti-nationals? And when Indians are killed in Gujarat, that for us is an anti-national activity. When Indians are killed in Kandhamal, that for us is an anti-national activity. When Indians are killed in Muzaffarnagar, that for us is an anti-national activity. When people are killed in Malda, that is also an anti-national activity for us. Let there be the Sikh riots. When people are killed in the name of wherever people are killed in the name of their religious identity, whether it's the Sikh riots or anywhere else, it constitutes an anti-national activity for us. Those who sell out assets that our people had built up due to their efforts, that to us is an anti-national activity. When this government outsources India's security to foreign companies in the name of FDI in defense, that to us is an anti-national activity. Those who fired at Professor Vivek Kumar of JNU and burned the Indian Constitution after he gave a speech in favor of the Indian Constitution and Baba Sahib Ambedkar, that to us is an anti-national activity.
You still have 46 seconds. Please go ahead.
Also, it's very interesting to see that what is anti-national for us has been defined. What is our nationalism? That's the anti-imperialist nationalism. Now let us look what is Sang's idea of nationalism, directly borrowed from our dear Hitler. Sang said, and I quote, Veer Savarkar, he said that, we should learn from Germany. We should learn from Germany how they have condemned the Jews and established a Nazi state. And that's what they want with the Hindu Rashtra. Anybody who's dissenting must be crushed. And that is what their nationalism is. That is what we find as anti-nationalism.
You still have 9 seconds.
See, sovereignty, I would like to say, I don't have time, but sovereignty is the fundamental core idea of the whole national issue and the nation and nationalism.
Okay, your time is up. You've had your chance. They've criticized the Sang's idea of nationalism. You now have an opportunity to respond. I'll give you 2 minutes. Your time starts now.
See, we all know that communists are good in creating propaganda and chanting rants, but see the reality and you'll find that there is no freedom of expression in China. There was no freedom of expression in USSR. And there is no freedom of expression in any communist country. You see, even in India, wherever the Communist Party of India, Marxist or the Communist Party of India has come to power, you see that all other ideological parties, their voices are stifled and they're not allowed to speak. We see how many people have been killed by these very communists in Kerala and in West Bengal. How they stifle their opposition voices everywhere. You see every day in JNU how ABVP Karyakartas are treated like outcasts. You see that in JNU campus, then that when Kargil war heroes visit JNU campus and they take part, they see a mushaira and they object to anti-India sloganeering there. Even there, these very communists beat up Kargil war heroes. You see every day this intolerance of the left. But our idea of India is what was Vivekananda's idea of India. When Vivekananda went to Chicago, he said that I am proud to belong to a nation that does not just tolerate people, but which accept all ideas as true. It accepts all religions as true. We, in Indian philosophy, you see that there are so different schools. There are 6 Thai schools and 3 atheistic schools. But you see that the idea of Charvak, the philosophy of Charvak also exists even in the same society. So this is idea of India where debate, discussion, dissent and diversity are an essential part of which culture. But their idea of India is that of destruction of India, and that is why on 9th of February, when anti-India slogans were raised in front of their eyes, when some of these very people who were standing here and sitting here in the audience, they were also part of that so-called cultural evening where they were shouting anti-India slogans. These people never condemned it.
Your time is up.
People never condemned
Your
it.
time is up. You now have 1 minute to interject and to respond to all of what you heard the ABVP students say. Your 1 minute must not move further or go to another question. You must respond to the criticism you just heard from the students from the right. You've got 1 minute. Any of you can answer. So any of you can pick up the mic. You've got 1 minute to respond. Your time starts now.
I'll just like to respond to something that ABVP said because they have mentioned it twice about some people being beaten up in JNU, so-called Kargil war heroes. The reality of this incident is this. 2 people had gotten drunk in a cultural event in JNU and had created a ruckus. Okay, later it turned out that they were army men. These army men to us do not represent the Indian army or our nation. All right. The Bahri Commission report couldn't find a single instance of so-called ISI activity in JNU.
You bet army men because they're army men.
It's their chance. They still have 30 seconds. Please don't interject. Let them complete.
Very great Democrats. They're not letting us talk anyways. Okay. The point here is they are talking about army. Their nationalism is very militaristic. I would just say, let's talk real issues. What happened in OROP? Are you people willing to give the pension to those people who have fought in Kargil? No. Let us talk about what is in your hands. China and Soviet Union are no longer in our hands. China and Soviet Union are no longer in our hands, and we are not responsible. You people are the flag bearers of Modi. Tell what happened in OROP. What did you do to the Jawans?
What is the problem in OROP?
One second.
Give me 5 points which are the problem in OROP.
One second.
Other than reading from the article,
second.
please tell us what are the 5
1 second. This is not parliament and you don't get to speak without the moderator asking you to speak. So please follow my command. You now have an opportunity to ask a question. Can I have the attention from the team from the ABVP, please? Don't get too excited. You've got now 1 minute to ask a question. Based on what you've heard them say, you can ask a question to which the students from the left will respond. Any of you can pick up the mic and ask one question. Your time starts now.
Our friends are talking a lot about tribal, Adivasi, Pichhada Varg and all those things. I want to ask you, what is the opinion on Shobha Mandi's disclosure? Shobha Mandi was a tribal woman who was brutally raped and was kept as a sex slave. She has written a diary about how the women are treated in Naxal camps. Number two,
have to ask the
4,000 children have been recruited as child soldiers in Naxal camps. And what do you have to say about
Okay.
them? Is this
Let
your
me
idea
have
of
them-
development,
Fair enough.
idea of India?
You've asked your question. Please allow them to respond.
I'm sorry, they have so fake idea about everything. Oh, just.
We have good idea about nation. At least we have good idea about nation.
So do they? We are here to represent Naxalism. What type of idea you have? You are what?
Naxalwadi is a war crime. Naxalwadi is a war crime.
None of
It
us
takes
are,
place in
none
GDS
of us are
elections
from
when
the
they win.
CPI Maoists. None of us here are from the CPI Maoists.
Maoist. Why?
Okay, I will now allow.
We say that.
One second. We can't allow this.
We have not objected to it.
Clarify, none of us are from CPI Maoist, nor do we expose or in any of their positions. We are here very, very clearly saying that route of taking a violent revolution is not correct. That is what is our position. Yes.
ISA representative is here.
Okay,
ISA representative is here. I would like to ask. ISA representative is here.
Listen.
ISA representative is here.
See,
ISA
Okay,
representative.
one second.
In Gujarat, there was.
Naxalwadi call is wrong.
I need more time, please.
One second.
Naxalwadi long
For
way.
democracy.
One second. Can I have the mic, please?
So much for
It is
democracy.
very,
Your
very
time is
simple.
up. You can't speak anymore. I'm going to give some of the students in the audience an opportunity to ask a question.
On 24th February, when Satyendra Avana of ABP Dusu President said, we will enter JNU campus and shoot the traitors. What was not that anti-national activities? Was not against freedom of expression? Please condemn it and say your stance here.
Go ahead, please respond.
These are the very people who keep shouting freedom of expression all over. Is freedom of expression limited to your rants everywhere? Is freedom of expression limited to shouting for destruction of India? Freedom of expression will not be given to you for shouting anti-India slogans anywhere. And this shows the popular anger of the country. Do you know lakhs of people have taken to streets in the recent days? Lakhs of people. No. You are with the Maoists. The Maoists go and shoot people. You never condemn the Maoists for shooting people. You do not condemn Mao for killing people in the Cultural Revolution. You do not condemn Che for raping women in Cuba. You do not condemn rapists and murderers. Did you once condemn?
Please answer his question, my friend. Please answer his question.
Did you once
Please
condemn?
answer his question.
Did you
Don't
once
dodge like
condemn
your forefathers.
the murderers of Sujit
Can I-
in Kerala?
Okay, your time is up. Can I have one second? Can I have
7
silence
seconds are
in
left,
the
you can
audience,
answer the
please?
question.
I want to now use my prerogative as the moderator of this debate and ask you a question of my own. The gentleman over there asked you very specifically, do you accept or condemn a comment made by the DUSU president who belongs to the ABVP that he would enter the JNU campus along with other ABVP activists and shoot the traitors? Do you or do you not condemn, or do you accept this statement as being part of freedom of expression?
As an organization, as a responsible activist of the organization, an office bearer of the organization, I condemn if such an accusation, such a statement has been given by anyone. ABVP is an organization that does not believe in such violent means. And when you talk about JNU campus, we also have, I have been an alumnus of JNU. We have ABVP activists in JNU who have been raising their voice against the violent activities of communists in campus and everywhere. If anyone makes a statement like that, it is condemnable, and we do not adhere to any such.
Okay, I think he's answered that question. We will now take the next question from the audience. Who wants to ask the next question? Please go ahead and ask your question.
You are stressing again and again a single word woman. Each and everyone let stress on word woman. I just want to ask कि आप वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट और नारी सुरक्षा के ठेकेदार बनते हैं, और जब जुवेनाइल एक्ट राज्यसभा में पास हुआ तो वाम दलों ने क्यों वापस बाहर जाने का स्टेप लिया? Why the hell they march out? And wait, sir.
You asked your question. You asked why did the left parties walk out of parliament when the amendment to the Juvenile Justice Act was being passed? Any of you can answer. You'll have 1 minute to respond. Your time starts now.
As far as that act is concerned, the left parties did not agree with it. We do not think that by punishing we can actually eliminate crime.
1 second.
Punishing, to say that punishing will eliminate crime is what the ABVP, whatever DUSU president just told. We will go and shoot. Okay, they are saying we will take care of mistakes by going and shooting. No, punishing is not the way. Reform is also an important part of the Indian penal system. Please understand. By reducing the age, you are not really making things easier for the people here. The people, firstly, you need to take care of how do you take care of these the patriarchal structures that are there in the society today. Why is a woman not able to walk? You know, these are the questions that you should answer. Rather than talking about all those things, we are talking about reducing the age of a juvenile criminal, and that unfortunately is a very regressive development in the Indian legal system today, and that is why the left parties walked out, and we are firmly with that.
Okay, you've answered. Let's take some more questions from the audience. The gentleman there wants to ask. Go ahead.
Sir, time is...
No, that's okay. Yeah, 1 second. Please go ahead.
So I would also like to point out that the idea of rehabilitative justice was brought by Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar, whom apparently these people condemn. Also, I would like to point out that he was.
Statement. When you visit a
No,
statement,
1 second. 1 second. As the moderator, I want to say here, can I have silence on the floor, please? Can I have silence on the floor, please? I intervened before the time was up, so I'll give you 20 seconds to respond. Please go ahead and do so.
Thank you. And also, I would like to add that respected ABVP person sitting in the audience.
Okay, 1 second.
everybody is Isa, everybody
Allow
is
him to
Pai,
speak,
everybody is
please.
some other
Please let me speak,
Allow
my
him to
friend. So
speak,
much for
please.
democracy.
1 second, we will queue back and we will start from the top. 1 second. You'll get 20 uninterrupted seconds to make your point. Your time starts now.
My dear friend who is sitting there, who claims he's not from ABVP, says that, are we the only takedar of women's security and women freedom? First of all, we are talking about women freedom, that is fearless freedom for all women. And the takedars of women security are these people who say that women should be restricted to their homes so that they are not getting raped. These people say that, chow mein should not be eaten because that can lead to rape.
1 second.
These people.
Now your time is up. 1 second. We're now coming towards the last part of this broadcast. We'll have one more question each from the audience, but before that, I want to give our 4 speakers an opportunity to question each other. You can ask one question to your opponents. One question to your opponents. Let the students from the left, your wish, you've heard the debate. You can ask one question to your opponents. While you get your thoughts together, I think the audience is itching to have a go and ask you some more questions. I'll allow the gentleman to ask his question. Go ahead, please.
You talked about reasonable restriction. So, by talking about reasonable restriction, are you trying to justify the draconian AFSPA law in the Northeast? If you are trying to justify the AFSPA law, then I am not against your concept of nation and the concept you are trying to create, the Akhand Bharat. Then I will dissociate myself with the concept of nation that you have. And moreover, the people from Manipur, mostly those women were of my mother's age, they were naked and they were shouting slogans, Indian Army, rape us. How do you react to those?
Okay, please go ahead and respond.
My dear friend is a bit confused. It is not us who are saying we are putting reasonable restrictions. It is the Constitution of India. It is the Constitution of India that has these reasonable restrictions on freedom of expression. And we strongly believe in the Constitution of India. We strongly believe in our judiciary, and we also believe that this is the very Constitution and this is the very judiciary which has all the powers to resolve all the issues in our country. If there have been any excesses by the army anywhere, that should be proved and justice will surely be delivered. Everyone in India is free. Everyone has the right to accuse and also a right to go to the police. I think you will get justice.
Okay. I want to get a sense of the house here. Who do you think carried the motion? This was the Big JNU Campus Face-Off. Who do you think won? Let me explain how, because before this just degenerates. Let me explain how you could answer. Do you believe it was the students from the ABVP who won? If you believe that, you can put your hand up. If not, when I ask you, do you think it's the students from the left who carried this debate? You can put your hand up and give us your answer. So first, let me ask you, how many people sitting here think it's the students from the right who carried today's debate? How many people here believe it's the students from... Okay. How many people over here believe it's the students from the left? How many people sitting here believe... One second. How many people sitting here think it's the students from the left who carried today's debate? I also just want to say this. No, 1 second. I will not... I will not let this be the last word because the audience here is clearly polarized. So we leave it to our viewers to decide who they think actually won the nationalism debate. Sitting at home, you've heard arguments very passionately put forth by students both from the right and from the left. And I want to appreciate all of you for having joined us over here and participating in this debate, because the whole idea of India is built around the idea of debate. And that tradition must continue. We mustn't impose our views on each other. We must debate. We must contest. And that's how we continue to build a liberal and also a very happy democracy. A democracy where ideas win in the end. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. Thank you very much. News and updates continue when we come back on the other side of a quick break.